Cristiano Ronaldo's life has always been in front of the eyes. His journey from poverty to becoming one of the most recognizable names in the world has been an inspiration for millions of people. But at every step of this ascent, there were unseen details, forgotten stories, and voices that remained silent. And one day, one of those voices appeared in front of Ronaldo with a single note. That day was an ordinary training day. It was his second year at Juventus, and the team was preparing for the league final. Ronaldo, as usual, was one of the first to arrive. After completing his physical preparation, he entered the locker room. As he was about to open the door of his closet, he noticed a crumpled paper on the floor. At first he didn't care, but when he bent down to the ground, he saw the following handwritten sentence on it. "Your place was actually mine." There was no signature under it, just a name. Miguel Rocha Ronaldo took the paper, looked at it in silence for a while. Who was this Miguel Rocha? The message was not menacing, but it was touching. There was a secret bitterness in it. Ronaldo had never heard this name before, but the sentence had carved itself out. It was as if an invisible weight had been placed on his shoulders. Throughout that night, the name Miguel Rocha echoed in his mind. Was the person who wrote this note expressing a disappointment, a suppressed pain? Or was he really at the same point as her once, but he had swung his life path in another direction? Ronaldo has gone back in time, to his early years at Sporting Lisbon. At that time, when the academy was full, only a few people were being selected. Those who were left behind were being quietly erased from their lives. Ronaldo did not know how many voices he had suppressed in his own rise, how many stories he had eclipsed. The next day, after practice, he went down to the club archives. He scanned the lists of the period when he rose from the academy to the professional team. Miguel Rocha reached his name among the decals in 2003. Same age group, same position. Even the performance evaluation grades were almost equal. But there was another note next to it. DNP, did not proceed. Another calmly written statement in the file attracted his attention. After a left knee injury, the player's physical competence has decreased. He has not been recruited to the top squad. Ronaldo began to see the weight of all his achievements with a different eye at that moment. Behind his legendary performances on the field, there were perhaps dozens of stories that disappeared like Miguel. He realized at that moment that another fall was hidden in the shadow of every rise. On the night of that day, Ronaldo, looking at the stars from his window, felt lonely for the first time, because that note reminded him that success resonates not only at the top, but also at the bottom. And he wouldn't be comfortable without talking to the owner of this echo. The name of someone they had put their head on the same pillow, dreaming of the same pitch, had pierced his silence for the first time. And that touched the person inside Ronaldo. Ronaldo has activated his special team to find Miguel. No media, manager, or club official knew about this search. Only a connection had to be established between him and his past. Samber. This was not just a meeting, but an internal reckoning. After days of searching, it was learned that Miguel Rocha lived in a small town in the north of Portugal. He ran a grocery store, didn't tell anyone about his football past, lived an almost invisible life. The townspeople knew him as a simple, quiet, self-made person. Yet in his inner world, there was the weight of a suppressed story. Ronaldo, unguarded, simply set off. When he arrived in town, he tried not to be recognized by the simple gray-hooded t-shirt and glasses he was wearing. When he arrived in front of the grocery store, he immediately recognized the man inside. His back was slightly hunched, his hair had turned gray, but his eyes were still young. He went in. No one looked up. He quietly took a few apples, walked to the safe. Miguel didn't recognize him. Ronaldo took that note out of his wallet. He quietly dropped it in front of Miguel. Miguel saw the note first, then the man. His eyes grew big. Her lips trembled. The apple in his hand fell to the ground. Ronaldo said nothing. He just looked into her eyes. Miguel could not speak. Then Ronaldo asked, "Why did you leave this note now?" Miguel replied in a muffled voice, "Actually, I quit years ago, thinking at the time that you would never read it. Then I thought they lifted it. But that means he had to get his hands on it one day." Ronaldo fell silent. He put his hand on Miguel's shoulder. "I wanted to find you, because I wanted to talk to someone whose life turned in a different direction when they were at the same point as me. Because I've always heard the applause, but I've never known people who are silent like you." Miguel's eyes filled up. "I have never been jealous of you. I've just always been surprised at how fate has separated us. And when I was writing that note, I wanted to pour out what was inside me. Such." They both left that day speechless. But something had been resolved between them. It was as if some kind of balance of conscience had been equalized. An idea fell into Ronaldo's mind. This story shouldn't have ended there. Miguel's name should not be forgotten on the sidelines. It may have been erased from the records, but never from the heart. Ronaldo stayed in town for a few days. The duo took long walks every day. They didn't play ball. They didn't talk about football. They talked about life, from losses, silence, lack of regret. Ronaldo wanted to get to know what kind of person Miguel was, not what kind of athlete he was. Miguel also felt safe enough to share his story with someone for the first time. Ronaldo's sincerity was overshadowing his reputation. One morning, Ronaldo presented Miguel with an offer before leaving. "We are organizing a special match at the end of the season. To bring to light stories that have been silent for years, I want to go on the same field there with you." Miguel first smiled, then shook his head from side to side. "I don't play football anymore. My body won't let me." Ronaldo replied, "You will just stand on the pitch. You don't have to hit the ball, as long as I see that you are there." Months later, the season is over. At the charity match organized by Ronaldo, the stadium was completely full. The fans were there to see the big stars, but the name announced before the start of the match caused confusion. And now Cristiano Ronaldo's special guest, Miguel Rocha. The stands fell into silence. Then gradually a round of applause rose. When Miguel came on the field, Ronaldo greeted him, handed him his jersey. What was written on it was just a single word: "You've earned it." Miguel couldn't hold the tears from his eyes when he picked up that jersey. A story suppressed for decades was released that night to the applause of thousands of people. Millions of people watched that moment on social media. People also remembered repressed dreams, silent heroes in their own lives. Ronaldo, on the other hand, later said in an exclusive interview that, "Everyone knows my story. But today, Miguel's story has been told, and maybe this was worth more than mine." Sometimes, a note is not just a piece of paper. Sometimes a note finds the past, questions fate, and connects two lives at one point. Sometimes someone else will say what they are silent about, and that voice finds an echo in front of thousands. Because some successes are born out of silence, and some heroes grow up in the shade, not on the stage.